Okay, welcome. Today I'm going to be offering a reflection about boarding school syndrome and especially about how we as ex-boarders judge others. So it's that internal critic judging others either as better than us or worse than us. And also seeing that reflection as well about our internal judgments about ourselves. So enjoy. Okay, so this is something I wanted to talk about today about boarding school syndrome, because I see that it's quite intrinsic in us, this idea of judgments. I was off this last month for a break, and we were travelling around with my wife, the south of England, and I just noticed myself catching myself judging others. And I find that often I will judge others, especially if I'm quite tired. So I've been driving, a long day, I could just notice myself, the internal dialogue kick in. And this for me is quite key with ex-boarders. Everyone judges others, but I feel that the very situation of boarding school means that we are we're hypercritical. And I'm just going to talk a little bit and unpack this a bit today. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about what we can do to start to remedy this. So this thing about judging others. So I feel at school, when we're at school, we arrive at school 11, 8, 6 or whatever, we're at the bottom. And basically we are seen, and everyone is above us. All the years are above. It's like, oh my God, you see these, for me, these big boys, they're men. It's like they're giants, and I used to put them onto pedestals. But within our own year structure as well, if you made a mistake or you did something wrong, often we as the year group would judge that person as less than. So, at school, it was very rare that you had someone who was on the same level as you. Okay, there were people within your year group, or maybe you were good at sport, so people in your sports team, more or less, you were on the same level. But I found that boarding school, that was one of the things that kept us safe almost, was we were always kind of being very wary. As Peter Levine talks about, not in this book, but in one of his other ones, Healing Trauma, he talks about this idea that we are hypervigilant. And I feel one of our ways that we are hypervigilant still post-boarding school is this judging of others. So first year, we judge everyone as better than us. We put people onto pedestals. As we move up the school, the people who are below us in the years, we judge them as less than us. We look down on them. We might insult them. That might be, the way. In my school, it was, if you were on the years below, you could get them to make you cups of tea or toast, or you could throw them out of a seat if they were watching TV and you wanted that seat. You could throw them out. Also, the cleaners, the people who were the dining room staff, they were called bockers at my school. It was like less than. So I see that this is something which really plays out within us, and it's very unconscious. We're constantly kind of hypervigilant. Someone walks in the room, immediately we've kind of judged them either as better than us, or they look like they're a teacher, or less than. The issue with this for me is that it separates me from someone else, and I see that as ex-boarders we're very much loners. Most people are quite, not everyone, but a lot of the people who come to me, it's a common trait is we're loners. And this is one of the ways that we keep ourselves alone, is that we judge others. It's like, oh no, they're less than me, or we think in our minds they're stupid or there's something wrong with them. We make that judgment. or we put them onto a pedestal. I remember when I was studying in my 30s, my shamanic teachers, I put them onto a pedestal. It's like, oh, and yeah, again, it's kind of separating rather than seeing them as human. So this is one of the ways for me that we remedy judging when we're judging others, is to start to bring some compassion in. So in the summer, as I shared last week, this idea that I did this, went to this festival, Menfest, and I did a circle of 20 boarding school men, and we shared our experiences, and there were lots of tears. I had a lot of tears sharing my story. And I find once I do that, when I hear someone's story, whether that be a teacher or someone who I consider below me, like a dining room staff, when I hear their story, it brings them up. They become human again. I hear their emotion. It's like I can see they are human. And so that's one of the ways that I find really helpful. If I can really talk about, listen to, really see, okay, they are human. Find that's really, really powerful for us to break that spell, because I feel it is a bit of a spell. The other thing I found, which is really powerful, is a little practice that if I see that I'm putting someone onto a pedestal, it's like seeing them as better than me. It's just imagine, like an elevator, them coming down to being level with me. They're human. And also if I'm looking down on someone, seeing them as less than, just bringing them up, that, and that can be children as well. Rather than seeing yourself as better than a child, just they're human. You're interested as a human to human. So yeah. And I guess the last bit about judgments is judgments about ourselves. So we're judging other people, but we're also, Pete Walker talks about this in his book, Complex PTSD, the idea that we have this really strong internal critic that's really giving ourselves a hard time. And I'd say that as ex-boarders, it's really powerful, really strong. My internal dialogue was so unhappy and wrathful towards me. So often, if I make a mistake or if I do something, I'm judging myself. And what Pete Walker talks about in his book is one of the remedies for starting to lessen the intensity of the internal dialogue and those judgments is through grief. Judith Herman in her book, Trauma and Recovery, same thing. Stage 2 is grieving. If we can connect to that grieving process, feel our tears, he's saying, Pete Walker, that we start to let go of that internal critic. And I personally find, my internal critic it used to be really horrible. So much so that at some points I physically beat myself because, there was that battle going on. Now he feels very settled. And partly that's the grief, the tears and the crying that I've gone through over the years. And even today, it's like going off to Menfest. I cried a lot there. And it's okay. It's like a man cries, a woman cries with the shoulders back and the head up. If we can retrain our bodies to go, it's okay to cry. In that way we can let go of those internal judgments. I think those are all of my reflections really about judgments. But if you notice you're doing it, bring mindfulness. It's like, as I did when I was traveling around the south of England, it's like breathing in, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm judging others. And just catch ourselves, bring ourselves up, bring that person up. Or, if you're putting them on a pedestal, bring them down level. It's like, they're human. Just catching, bringing mindfulness to that when you're judging. So yeah, Hope this is of help. Please do comment below if you find this helpful, or if there's subjects you'd like me to talk about. So yeah, many blessings and have a great week. See you next week. Bye for now.